You know, the COVID pandemic brought out the worst, most authoritarian instincts of the blue state governors. My governor, Phil Murphy, who barely won re-election with less than 1%. Andrew Cuomo was god-awful. Gavin Newsom, god-awful. Kate Brown, god-awful. Jay Inslee, god-awful. And I think one of the worst was Gretchen Whitmer. She left open liquor stores and lottery retailers, but shut down hardware stores from selling potting seed and soil. I never understood that. Her husband tried to get his boat dropped into Lake Michigan while everyone else was on lockdown. She said it was a joke. When she was telling people to stay indoors, she was taking a private jet to visit family in Florida. And when people showed up in Lansing to protest, to open the state's economy, she called them Nazis. My next guest is a wife, mother of 4, cancer survivor, former small business owner, and a candidate for governor in Michigan, Tudor Dixon. One of the things that Gretchen Whitmer has displayed is almost a hatred for the people in the Upper Peninsula. She made the lockdown as miserable as possible in Michigan, and now she's trying to block the Line 5 pipeline as if gas prices aren't high enough.
Right. She's come out and she wants to file a state suit because this is even further left than Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden. She wants to shut down this pipeline that is not only heat and gasoline and jet fuel, but it's the plastics that we make all of our cars with. This is insane. It would kill our economy, but the progressive left has no end to what they'll do.
You know, it was amazing. She referred to people that showed up in the Capitol. And, you know, before there was a trucker protest in Canada, there were people that were driving around, honking their horns, asking her to let them get back to work. Just let us open our businesses. Let us feed our families. And she just so blithely dismissed them as, oh, they're Nazis. No, they felt that you were acting like a Nazi governor, not that they weren't Nazis. Yes, there was one protest sign with a swastika on it because they felt like her policies were Nazi-like.
Yes, and in fact, those policies continue in different ways today. So she had businesses shut down during the pandemic, but the way she treats businesses now with the bureaucracy, with her agencies, she goes in, we're considered a gotcha state outside of the state of Michigan because her agencies are constantly fining, citing, and shutting down businesses, not allowing them to expand. It's almost impossible to get a permit in our state. It's completely overregulated by Gretchen Whitmer. So what you saw during the pandemic continues in different ways in the state right now, and that's why we have to get her out of office.
How does she justify, you expect this stuff from Gavin Newsom, right? You're going to wear a mask and you're going to stay home and be indoors all afraid of this COVID thing, but I'm taking a helicopter out to the French Laundry and I'm going to party with my friends with no mask on. She told everyone to stay indoors and be afraid, be very afraid, but then she got on a private jet for Florida.
Right. And her French Laundry was a dive bar in Lansing where she went. And even though we were only allowed to go with 6 people at a table, she pushed everything together and then had the nerve to take pictures. And that private jet to Florida was 2 weeks before she told everybody the virus is so bad in Florida, don't go to Florida. The hypocrisy is great with this governor. And then you talked about restaurants and people trying to open their businesses. We had a restaurant owner who kept her business open. She sent the state police to take her away in handcuffs and shackles. She had chains around her waist for 3 days for a misdemeanor. This is the kind of governor we have.
I look at a state like Michigan and I look at like a city like Detroit, and I don't know how Democrats, I do know how they destroyed it, but Detroit used to be the envy of the world in manufacturing. It was the envy of the world. You could graduate high school and go on to college, join the military, or get a job in the automobile industry, and there were good paying jobs in that city. And now it just looks like this blighted hellhole because of years and years and decades of Democrats running it into the ground.
Yes, and under Governor Snyder, we started to recover. We started to see some businesses thriving and coming back, and that was crushed right again under Gretchen Whitmer. But we have the opportunity to really try to bring that automotive industry back. It's our legacy industry. It's going down south right now. We already saw Ford go to Tennessee and Kentucky. This governor said, I think we didn't know they were leaving. How can you not know when you are chief executive of the state? But we know what it takes to get automotive back and build up our cities again and give our working class people the American dream back. And that's what we're going to do.
I would think, even John Dingell, who was on the left on a lot of things, would always defend the auto industry for most of his career. Debbie Dingell might be different, but I would think that Gretchen Whitmer would be the loudest voice to bring down gas prices, not start using her powers and the courts to try to stop another pipeline. We saw what happened when the Keystone XL got shut down. We saw what happened when they started, revoking at the federal level land permits and offshore drilling. Now she's adding to it almost as to say, look at me, I hate oil and natural gas as much as you guys do.
Because she thinks she can drive people into electric vehicles. Look at Buttigieg, who says, go out and buy an electric vehicle. These people can't afford an electric vehicle. We can't afford electric vehicles. She thinks that she can mandate gasoline out of our system and suddenly we're going to have a solution. But this is exactly how Democrats work. There is no solution right now. Conservatives are the innovators. Innovation is the solution to any type of climate issue we have, but we can't get to innovation because Democrats are blocking us and coming up with crazy ideas like shutting down a pipeline when there is no alternative right now. She is putting hundreds of thousands of jobs in Michigan at risk, and we have got to stop this.
I know that your state has, obviously, a city like Detroit. Then you have the Upper Peninsula, and that's kind of like New York, right? We have New York City in this vast territory of upstate New York, which is a different planet. How are the polls looking? Because I would have to imagine there are people that are just so fatigued with the lockdowns, and she was one of the. We expect it from Phil Murphy, Andrew Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, but I would think a Midwestern governor would have a little bit more sense than that.
Right. Well, right now, the latest poll says 59% of people are willing to vote against her, willing to vote for any Republican right now. So we are very strong in getting Gretchen Whitmer out of office. And look, people are looking at what she did. The shutdowns for business were one thing, but education, we were already behind. She had some schools shut down for a year and a half. We still have over 100,000 students in masks. And our literacy exams just came in for third graders. More than 50% of our third graders failed their literacy exam because, look, for the last few years, they haven't even been in school. This governor has robbed our students of their future. We have got to get her out of office.
Well, maybe they're just not teaching enough transgender or sexual orientation in kindergarten through third grade. That might be part of the problem. Maybe she could fix that by doing the opposite of Ron DeSantis or something.